This is Jack Kelly. Now, if you haven't noticed, because there wasn't really a lot of talk about it, but we had an election on Tuesday, right? I know. I just didn't hear anything in the press. Wow. And today is, I have no idea what today is. I think it's Thursday, but it's COVID time, so you lose track of days and time. All right, now this, I know, half of you are going to just turn off right now because you're like, I don't want to hear politics. Leave me alone. I can't take it anymore. I feel the same way. I'm so over it. I've been over this. Like, I don't know, a year ago. I can't take all the arguing. I can't take all the fighting, the bad blood, everyone on top of it, angry at each other's throats. I'm not into that. It just got out of control. So this is not about that. What this is about is what's going to happen with your career? What's going to happen with your job? What should you think about? What do you want? What do you need to know? So here's what I'm looking at this. As of now, it's Thursday at about 2 o'clock. And I haven't looked at the internet for a little bit, so I'm presuming no winner has been declared as of yet. Now, here's what I want to talk about today is what would happen if Joe Biden would win the presidency. And I'm not saying this because I'm a Joe Biden fan. I'm not saying this because I don't like Trump. I'm agnostic. I made a decision. I am not for any party. I've given up parties because you get pressured into groupthink. You think you start just having to feel you're on a team and defend everything on your team. I'm not into that. I look at each issue on a one-by-one basis and make my decisions. So back to Biden. And the reason I'm saying Biden is because we know Trump and we know his policies and know his procedures. We know his platform. We know what he's doing. Biden, not so much. We don't know really a lot about what he would do for the economy. There's a lot of fear. There's a lot of worry. Is he going to be hijacked by the very leftist side? And are they going to kind of push him to go socialist? And that's, I think, what many people are concerned. Not so much about Biden himself, because I think over the last, almost half a century, he's shown he's pretty much of a moderate. It shows that he's really the guy, in my opinion. And I didn't know much about him. Can I tell you, before this cycle, I really was apolitical. I was just doing my work, doing my job, and whatever. And now you can't get away from it, so you kind of brought into it. But it seems to me he's this kind of middle-of-the-road, moderate, old school, backslapping, let's make a deal kind of guy who is not really in love with any particular philosophy, or like some politicians, we got to do this and that's it. That's their thing. We got to do that. Or he seems more of like, hey, let's work it out. Let's make a deal. Let's get people together. We'll figure it out. Which I kind of like if that is the case, and I could completely be wrong because I don't know that much about it. First minute, being a moderate, and I think this is coming to an advantage for people is this. If you haven't been noticing, the stock market has been on fire for the last few days, which is completely opposite of what you were thinking of. If we don't have an elected official, and I was thinking this first too. In fact, I wrote a couple of articles about this saying, hey, if we have a contested race for the presidency and there's not a winner, it's likely that we're going to see violence, we're going to see protests, we're going to see looting, we're going to see mayhem. It's going to, things could spiral out of control. And it's not like it didn't happen before. For the last bunch of months, we've seen it in Portland, we've seen it in Seattle, we've seen it in other cities where people run amok, lighting places on fire, crazy violence, destruction. So it was reasonable to conclude that would happen. I also would think that the stock market was going to crash. I was ready to buy puts, but every time I was ready, and if you're not familiar with puts, you're kind of betting that something is going to go down, that the stock market, whatever securities you have are going to go down. So I was looking to buy puts thinking, oh man, things are going to be Armageddon. It's going to be terrible. And then lo and behold, for the last few days since, I think even leading up to the elections, it's been on fire. Now here's why I think it's on fire. The stock market's on fire. They're pricing in. And the reason I'm talking about Wall Street, it's not because I'm enamored or we should be enamored with it. It's you have very smart people who are investing with their money, their clients' money. They have access to the best intelligence, and they have skin in the game. If you watch an anchor person, someone, you follow a reporter, watch one of these cable shows. There's no skin in the game. They say what they want to say, and if it works, it works. It doesn't work, it doesn't work. It's like the weatherman. Hey, I said it was going to snow, it didn't snow. Sorry. Oh, I didn't say it was going to snow, and it snowed terribly, and everyone got stuck at home. Oh, sorry. They get away with it, but if you're an investor and you're betting your own money and you lose, you lost money. If you're betting your client's money on something and it doesn't work, your clients are going to fire you, and you're not going to be long in your job. So they have a vested interest. So and they have access to really great information, and they're really thinking of it not in terms of just philosophically. They're like, hey, I got to make money because that's my career, depends on my bonus, depends on my livelihood, depends on it. And the market's a bit on fire. And here's the rationale as I understand it. They're looking for Biden that's going to end up winning and feeling that he's not going to really get into this whole socialist thing. He's going to kind of be that middle of the road person. But even if he's not, the Senate took hold, or rather the Republicans took hold of the Senate. Now it might not mean much, but by having, let's say, and this is just, if this happens this way, it may not, who knows. If Biden is the president and then the Republicans hold the Senate, what ends up happening, you have gridlock. I think people were worried that if Biden, they were talking about having a blue wave. So people were worried if you had a president who is a Democrat, if you had a Congress that's all Democratic, and the Senate all Democratic, they could do whatever they wanted to do and go roughshod over everybody. And they were worried what would that mean to the economy, to the job market, to this country. And it seems it's not happening now, because let's go back to it. So you have Biden, who is in charge, is the president. Then you have the Republicans who run the Senate. They kind of have this gridlock. So it'd be hard for anyone to get anything done without compromise, which is what I think in this country we always want, a little give and take. It doesn't have to be just one way. That people will work well together. And I think they're applauding that feeling. Okay, so the Democrats who don't trust the Republicans go, okay, we have the president, keep them in check. The Republicans who, see Biden as a president go, okay, we'll say, all right, we're kind of keeping him in check. And by doing that, when you have gridlock and you can't get along, you can't get things done, and not a lot gets done, then what happens? Everyone goes back to their lives and work. They just squabble, nothing really happens, but if something really important, they realize, okay, we got to work together, and they'll get things done. And that, to me, seems why things are going well with the stock market, which is a good barometer of what will happen next. Now, that's one part. But the other part is this. So I did a deep dive for Forbes.com writing about Joe Biden, what his job market would look like. And this goes back to my initial statement. What should we expect? One of the biggest things on his platform is this. He wants to get all in on green energy, solar energy, clean energy, save the environment, climate control, all that kind of stuff. Now, let's give him every bit of the doubt. So that sounds great. That sounds laudable, because we don't want to have climate destroyed for us, for our kids, for our grandchildren. But you do run the risk of saying, okay, let's do away with oil, gas, fossil fuel, and we have thousands, hundreds of thousands, maybe millions of people who work in the oil industry, gas industry, fossil fuel industry, energy industry. And if you just say, hey, we're going to dismantle that and just go green energy, that could be a big problem. Now, if you kind of let them do what they're doing, fracking, shale, that kind of stuff, okay. But then slowly build out, a green infrastructure, then, all right, not so bad. So I think this one is a toss-up. I think everybody would agree, hey, we want to save the planet. Even if you're not an environmentalist, even if you're really not down with all this climate change, oh my God, the world's coming to end in 12 years, as AOC was saying, you kind of want, clean air, and you want all that stuff. So I think most reasonable people say that. They may disagree in terms of how bad the climate is getting, how much we're doing it, how much it's just how things work. So that part seems fine. But then, if you're going to go into solar energy and all sorts of alternatives, that's really not proven, and you're going to raise taxes, because Biden did say he's raising taxes. And it's not me just saying, oh, you're a Democrat, you're raising taxes. He's going to raise taxes. So he's going to raise taxes for it. That could be problematic because if you're raising a lot of taxes, whenever you raise taxes, think of yourself. You look at your paycheck. That's money coming out. That's money you don't have to invest. That's money you don't have to pay the bills for groceries. That's money you don't have for your kids' tuition. So you're to spend less. Multiply that across the board. More people spend less. In this economy which is not doing well, that's not a good thing. We've had so many bankruptcies. We have so many closures of stores. Look in your downtown and in your, wherever you live. How many stores have closed? JCPenney, Hertz, Neiman Marcus, J. Crew, Brooks Brothers. I can go on and on in terms of companies. Friendly's, the Friendly's ice cream chain. Ruby Tuesday to bankrupt. So in a way, it probably, to me, may not be a great time to raise taxes when we need people to have discretionary income to go out there. And I don't mean to make this a boring economics thing, but they're all intertwined. And I think you need to know this for your career. So you want to if you're taking money out and you have less money in your paycheck, you're not going to buy things, it's going to be tougher for businesses. So that's what he's betting. He's betting that with putting it, and to be fair, I might not be the best person because I'm not even sure when he says green energy, what exactly he's going to do. And I'm not sure if they know what to do. I think at this point it's a lot of buzzwords. So I'm not sure how quickly it's going to happen, if it's going to happen, and what they're going to do. So for this, I'm going to put a big question mark. I'm going to put a big question mark that is it going to happen? How soon will it happen? Is it just that rhetoric that makes people feel good? And then when you really dig deep, you're like, maybe let's think about it some more. Or the problem could be you're going to raise a lot of taxes, put a lot of money into these things, and they just don't work as well or as effectively. I mean, look at California. They didn't have power over the summer. So whatever we're doing isn't really working that well. So if we have unproven techniques, how is that going to make it better? I know you could say, okay, it can't get worse. Well, yeah, things could always get worse. But let's put this aside. So I'll put this as a big question mark. I say the taxes, not a good thing. You guys, whoever disagrees with me, feel free to pay more. You know what? I don't know if you know this, but on your taxes, you could give more money. That's okay. That's cool. So you could pay my share. I'm totally down with that. That's fine. Thank you very much. I think we will, most Americans say we pay more than enough. Here's another thing. And this I think is pretty good. He's looking to put a lot of money into infrastructure. Back during the Great Depression and then after World War II, to stimulate the economy, the government had these make-work programs, building bridges, tunnels, the train stations, the highway system, making everything work. And that was great because what you did, you're doing something productive. Not to get to bash on green energy, because that it's like, okay, we'll work it out. But if you live in any major city, the bridges are crumbling, the tunnels are crumbling, the train system is horrible, the airports are a disaster, the roads are filled with potholes. Living in the Northeast, in New York and New Jersey, there's some highways that have never stopped doing construction, constantly with road closures, congestion. It's terrible. So if they put money into the infrastructure, that could be a lot of results. Because number one, you're going to put so many people to work, but doing real work, building bridges, refurbishing the bridges, the tunnels, the airports, the train system, on and on and on. And by doing that, first of all, it improves the quality of our lives. Because anyone who right now, no one's really taking the trains to work, but it's a misery. It takes forever, they break down, it's horrible. So if you're able to get on a train, if you go to other countries and you get like these bullet trains, like a human being, you go from one direction to the other very easily, without a lot of drama. So imagine how much better your life would be. How much better would your life be? You could just go down the street and not blow out a tire on a stupid pothole. Not go to Manhattan from your suburb and then you can't get back because everything, the Holland Tunnel or the Lincoln Tunnel is closed down and you're stuck for hours just sitting there. That's worth something. You get a better quality of life. It's a better society. And plus, think about how many construction workers, how many electricians, how many plumbers, how many architects, how many engineers, how many blue-collar people are going to be put to work doing these things in real work, meaningful work. That I put a plus column. That I really hope Biden does because I think that will stimulate the economy, get people back to work, and also make people feel better about it. Now, you're not going to build new bridges overnight. You're not going to fix these bridges overnight. But directionally, we're headed in the right way. Because then we feel, okay, we're doing something better. So maybe in a year, 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, things will be better. The roads will be better. The tunnels will be better. The bridges will be better. Our quality of life will be better. That's a worthwhile investment that we know could pay off. We know could create jobs. And for those jobs, those people will spend. Those people go out to restaurants. And hopefully, once COVID is done, they could go out to sporting events, to concerts, take trips take air flights, travel, and it stimulates and it gets us back. So I put that in the positive category. He calls it build back better. I think that's what it is. Not the best load, build back better, but it's okay. I like the infrastructure. That makes a lot of sense. I think good for the economy, good for jobs. The other thing he's looking to do is, and he really plagiarized this from Trump, is to basically say make America great again by bringing back manufacturing jobs, bringing back jobs that were outsourced to other countries, and making it sounds harsh, but yeah, he was kind of saying making people buy or incentivize people to buy American products. I'm down with that too. I think that's a very reasonable approach. Our whole manufacturing sector has been crushed. It's been eviscerated. We refer to big swaths of this country as the Rust Belt because manufacturing is just done. So yeah, if we could bring from China and other countries, bring back manufacturing and factories and build stuff here, fantastic. Because once again, then we invest in all this machinery, in these factories, these plants. We hire all the workers there. Now, a lot of things would be robotics, but that's okay. You need people who can design, build, engineer these robots, all the technology. So it's going to be net growth across the board. And once again, that'll improve our lifestyle because instead of being in debt to all these countries, we're building up our own economy. So I give them good high marks for that. So the infrastructure, very good. The buying, bringing back jobs, bringing back manufacturing, great too. The other thing's not so great is that he's definitely saying the taxes across the board on companies, and that's where we kind of run into a little bit more of, does that offset it? I don't know. So we have the green energy, and these are just big, wide strokes, because he really hasn't been that clear. But to be fair, it's not so easy to say, hey, we're just going to create jobs. But from what he's saying, the green energy, I'll put a question mark. I'll hope for the best, because it would be fantastic if we have other sources of electricity and energy than just fossil fuel. Yeah, it'd be great to have. But it's a question mark whether it would get hijacked from a small segment of the Congress who are just going to throw money at things because they feel it's part of a whole woke agenda and they feel good about it, but it doesn't yield results. So that will put up for question to see how it plays out. Infrastructure, big fan. I think brilliant. I think it's great. I think it's helpful for the economy, helpful for the job market. Same thing with bringing manufacturing back here. I think it's great, makes sense, creates jobs, wonderful. Stop outsourcing jobs to other countries. That's very practical. The taxes, he seems very free to spend a lot of taxes. And that's a dangerous thing because it's one of those things you get addicted to it. Think about it. We're talking about infrastructure. Whenever you drive down any highway, you see all these toll booths. Have you ever in your life seen a toll booth taken away? Have you ever? You always see, we're raising the price to go from Brooklyn to Staten Island of Verrazano Bridge to like $12 to go one way. Have you ever seen it say, nah, you know what, we're going to roll it back? Have you ever seen on the trains and the subway say, you know what, we're going to cut prices now? Never, ever. Show me once when it happens. Right? Maybe there's once. I'm sure somebody could find and say, here you go, Jack, you have events. I'm sure someone is going to find that. But for the most part, never. Once they do it, it's a creep. It's a feature creep. They keep growing. So that I would say we have to be very careful of, because it's like a heroin addiction for politicians. They could feed their pet projects because they just keep raising it. So that's something that we really have to be concerned about. So the green energy, the willingness to raise taxes. I know you said, no, Jack, he said do not get to raise taxes anyone under 400,000. How many times have you heard that? Let's take the Republican side. If you remember back in the day, Bush, not the second Bush, the first Bush, was like, read my lips, no new taxes. And what did he do? Taxes. So I'm not taking politics. Happens on both sides. And we got to be careful. So far, this is what it is. What it looks like when you peel back the layers, it doesn't look as awful as some people may think, particularly, the conservative and the Republicans. And I'm sure there are people much smarter than me who've done much more homework that said, Jack, you don't know what you're talking about. And that's fine. In the comments, let me know. I'd be glad to do some homework and do a follow-up on it. But so far, it seems okay. I think there are a lot of pluses. There are a lot of things to watch out for. And we'll see. And we still have a way to go. This is what's so wild about this environment. We could have Trump now going to the Supreme Court, having them recount all the ballots in Arizona and Michigan and Wisconsin, and then they say he won. And then everybody go, from the Democrats and the left, go crazy. I don't know. It's up to you. But at least today, Thursday now it's probably like 2:30. I don't know who's going to win. We do know what Trump put in place. He's all about the economy, job creation, making America great. So we're familiar with that. So we know what we're getting. Biden, I think I gave a little bit. I'm not going to say this is everything, because come on, this is just me doing a dopey podcast here. I'm not. I'm a recruiter and a wannabe tech entrepreneur building something. What do I really know about this stuff? So take everything with a grain of salt. But at least from the homework I'm doing, this is what it looks like. This is what it looks like happening, and mixed bag, but nothing to say, oh my God, hair on fire, this is the end of the world. But also enough that'll say, hey, we definitely got to keep our eyes open. And that's why I think to go back to the stock market is going up, because if Biden had the Congress, which it looks like it is going to be, that's going to be Democratic, but if he had the Congress, the presidency, and the Senate, then they could push through everything they want. With Senate, it's almost like a backstop. So it's like, okay, wait a minute, we're not gonna sign off on this. We got to know more about what's going on with this whole green energy stuff. We got to know more about all these taxes. So it kind of balances each other out, so no one could go off the deep end. And I would say the same thing if it was on the other side, where then you wouldn't have to worry about the Republicans ramming through everything they want, because they have control of the presidency, the Congress, and the Senate too. Works both ways. And that's why I'm kind of more and more, as I get older, more libertarian. Not that I'm so in love with everything there, and a lot of the people who are, running it seem kind of kooky, but we do need a third party, at least a third party. So it's not an oligarchy of two parties running everything. We need some other voices. I hope this gives you a little information, a little insight, because all you hear is fear, doom, gloom, yell, argue, finger point. No, you're wrong. This is stupid. No, you're stupid. No, you're an idiot. No, you're an idiot. So I find it's valuable if you're in a job search, you're in your career, just at least understand what's going on. Because if you understand what's going on, then you can make intelligent decisions about your career, your life, where you're moving forward, what to do, and just imparting some knowledge. Hope this helps. So it's Jack Kelly, CEO, founder of WeCruitr. Hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for watching.